Hello everybody, today's video is brought to you by the most persistent brand partner we've ever worked with, Wash and Go. When I think back to the first phone call I had with Mr. Wash and Go, I even said, why are you so persistent in getting me involved as an ambassador for Wash and Go? Do you know what they said? They said, because you embody everything our brand's about. And I thought, you're with it. You know what you're on about it. You're a brand about the town. Because when I think about Wash and Go, I think 2 in 1. And when I think about myself, which isn't very often, but when I do think about it, I think, yes, 2 in 1. Presenter, international sex symbol. I also find that Wash and Go is extremely fast and efficient as a brand to use. And, well, that's me as well. Just ask Mrs. Goldbridge. You know, there's nothing I can't do too quickly. And on top of that, when I think about Twitter, I think, well, effectively, in a very watered down version, most people are replying to me saying Wash and Goldbridge. So when I think about it, it really is a no-brainer. Mark Goldbridge, Wash and Go. A match like no other. Enjoy the clip.
Mate.
I think favourites for the title. That'll be a good one.
It's I'd take Chelsea if I'm being blunt.
Why do you think that is, though? What is it they've done that makes them now better than City for you?
I don't think they are. I just think City are going to be laser focused on the Champions League.
Yeah, you said that before, actually.
I don't. There's nothing that I think they have better than City, or that they are better suited than City. I think last year both clubs probably would have happily switched around what they would. Well, maybe the fans wouldn't, but I know Pep certainly wanted that Champions League. And let's be honest, it's going to be his tenure, whichever way you look at it, will probably be deemed by maybe everybody outside of Manchester City as a failure if he comes away without that European Cup. And as for PSG, but that's madness.
Apparently, the beers in Portugal are Superboc and Sagre. I think it's Sagre. I think that's the one I liked. And the keeper for Ireland is 19, apparently, as well. So there you go. Thanks for all the super chats, by the way. And please do subscribe. Bottom right-hand corner. You're very, very welcome. I'm going to stick with Man City. I'm not going to change. Who did you predict at the start of the season was going to win the league? And let us know in the chat who you're thinking for the title and why. I did go Man City with Chelsea second, and I was tempted to go with Chelsea, but I went with Man City because last year I said Liverpool, and I was very wrong.
I think I actually went Man City, Chelsea, Liverpool, United. Now, this was pre some transfers, pre-Lukaku, I think, when I made this. But yeah, I think you could make a valid argument for either one of them being the favourites, to be honest. But I do think that I think it might actually work in Liverpool United's favour if we underplay and just go about our business. I'm certainly, as a Liverpool fan, not going to be going around talking about league titles, but I am confident that if we get breaks with injuries and if things, nothing bad goes our way, we'll be there or thereabouts. Because our first 11, our first 14 even, are still very, very, very good.
Yeah, I agree. I think if you can avoid injury, you'll be all right. But I do think that, I've said this before, so I don't want to bore people, but I remember the Champions League final between PSG and Bayern a couple of years ago, and I looked at the bench and I went, this is the new world. You've got to have that level of quality on your bench now. Liverpool don't have what Man City and Chelsea have got on their bench. And to be fair, United are getting there. We are a bit short in the midfield, but we are going to have probably a Mason Greenwood or a Sancho on the bench, and a Martial will be on the bench, and a Cavani might be on the bench, and a Lindelof will be on the bench, and a Delot and a Tellez. There's some real good quality players on our bench. We're just short in the midfield.
I think for us, the Chelsea game was probably a good microcosm of exactly where we are in the season. So Roberto Firmino picked up an injury just before half-time, and Klopp brought Diogo Jota on. That was pretty much when we needed to change the game in the second half when Chelsea were down to 10, he looked and he brought on Thiago, which you can understand. But 5 minutes to go, Robertson was knackered and he had to bring on another fullback because we had Minamino, Keita and Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. And I thought it was very telling that he didn't trust any of those to come on and make a difference. So why are we supposed to believe that over the course of a season that they're suddenly okay if the manager isn't trusting them in that major moment? That was my argument against anyone who said we didn't need to bring in another attacking option.
I think Liverpool are interesting. We're talking about title favourites. I think Liverpool are interesting, though, because Chelsea do play Man City in a couple of games' time. And I was looking at that Liverpool-Chelsea game, and the reason I was pissed off with Anthony Taylor is because he always does it to Chelsea, and I don't rate him. But I was like, if Liverpool win that game, they've got another 3 games that are really winnable. And if Liverpool win their first 6, we know that team can get into a rhythm and go and win their first 15, 20. So I was happy that Chelsea got that result. I think they deserved it as well. But I also think, in fairness to Liverpool, there's not a lot more they could have done. I was very surprised they didn't win the second half, but I thought that was a prime example. And we watched Arsenal, Man City, didn't we? And Arsenal go down to 10 men and you think they're going to get battered because their players are shit. They've got no organisation. They don't play for the shirt and they're not asked, regardless of what you think about the manager. Chelsea are probably like Liverpool would be, maybe like Man City or United would be. If they go down to 10 men, those players will play for each other and they're organised. And it's very hard to beat 10 men, actually, if they do. And I thought they played the perfect game. They basically took a midfielder off, didn't they? They took Havertz off and they basically played the same system, but they just lost an attacking midfielder and left Lukaku up front. Well, he's always a good outlet, Lukaku, because he's physical and he's fast. And a couple of times they nearly sort of got in, but their defensive shape stayed the same. And I don't think Liverpool... You need a bit of luck. You need a cross to go in, hit someone's hand or something like that. And when you've got the goal, they've got to open up because they're down to 10 men. But getting that first goal was difficult. And I thought Chelsea defended and played the game really well. And I thought Liverpool tried to break them down, but it's not always going to be that way.
I thought it was a fair result. I commended Chelsea for the way that they defended. Obviously, it was frustrating for us that we couldn't break them down, but that is the reason why they are champions of Europe. Thomas Tuchel was able to make those changes, bring Thiago Silva on, make them compact to the back. Azpilicueta was fantastic as well. And, they deserve credit for it. And you're right, Lukaku nearly pinched them a winner, but it was a good block from Joe Matip that stopped them.
I think it's interesting in the corner anyway. We're just talking about title contenders, and I think that the thing that I'm still going to stay Man City for me, because I just think that defensively they're still very, very good. The work rate, I mean, look, Ruben Diaz is very good. Their back four is very good, but Gundogan, he's popping up in the box scoring goals, and then when the opposition have got the ball, he's back in his own box. The work rate of that Manchester City side is so good, and they still haven't got De Bruyne back yet. And I know they've lost to Spurs, and if they lose 3 or 4 like that, it does open the door up. But I do think Man City will win it. And I don't really have much more to say than that, because you know what you're going to get with Man City. All they've done is bought Grealish. They are what they are. And maybe people are writing them off because everyone knows what they're going to be. But on the other hand, the reason I'd agree with you a bit about Chelsea is, and I hope it is close, is Chelsea last season were capable of maybe losing to a Brighton or something like that. But I think what Lukaku gives you is that those 2 chances that Werner might just miss, I think Lukaku will score. And I think they'll win more games. But how many points were there behind Man City last year? It was about 20. That's still a lot of points to make up just with Lukaku. But I think Man City and Chelsea are the favourites for me. And I think Liverpool have just got to go about their business, and United are an unknown for me.
I was just going to say, what do you think of your chances? Because I'd say we're almost in the same boat at this point. I'd say we have a charity bet on who's going to finish above each other. And I honestly feel like it's a coin toss at this point, with the business that you've done, the lack of business that we've done. But not only that, the goodwill factor and the vibes. I know we use vibes a lot with Arsenal, but the vibe that will be going through that United changing room and around Old Trafford now, it killed me, but I have to acknowledge the little PS, this one's for you, Sir Alex, at the end of his little welcome. I remember seeing Fowler brought back by Rafael Benitez, and I remember feeling exactly what United fans are feeling now. So I'd begrudge you every point in the season, but I wouldn't begrudge you the feeling of that moment for him coming back in, because as football fans, that just shows you that there is still a little spark of loyalty, of emotion left in the game. It's not all about pound notes.
Yeah, I agree, but I'm just tweeting this as I said it. Ronaldo is superb, but this game is a stark reminder of what the problem could be at Manchester United if we don't give him the service. You've got to give him the service, and there's not been any service for him here. And I think that's the big thing for me for the Ronaldo. I mean, would you have taken Ronaldo at Liverpool, or do you think, obviously the United things, a better question, if he had gone to Man City, would that have worried you?
No, I would have been delighted that they didn't sign Harry Kane.
Really? I think Kane's a better player?
No, I don't think he's a better player. I just think that he will do a better job for that team. I mean, yeah, I think sometimes it's horses for courses. I will say I think Cristiano Ronaldo isn't the player he once was. But I will also sit here and say he can easily score 25 goals this season. I think he has reinvented himself magnificently well. And I will always give him credit for that. And as you said, you give him the opportunities, he will score. I'm sure of that. I just would have been more fearful for a longer term with Kane and Man City, I suppose, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. I mean, look, I've enjoyed watching this game, and a lot of people will say, "Oh, Ronaldo's shit. He's been pocketed, this, that, and the other." But look, we're not playing FIFA here. We're playing football. Ronaldo and Messi don't score hat tricks every game anymore, and when they did, it was because they were in their prime and they were superhuman. They're now footballers, and they're very, very good footballers. But they do rely on service now, especially Ronaldo. And this is my worry about Ronaldo: is people think Ronaldo is going to make United win the league. He's not going to make us win the league if we play the same brand of football that we have done over the last year, which is slow tempo football. We've got to play better football. So for me to put United in a title race, I still think United will finish third, because if we don't, we're waiting for this brand of football to come in. And if we keep doing what Ollie does do, which is pragmatic counter-attacking football, then I think we'll come unstuck. We were very lucky to beat Wolves, and we didn't deserve to beat Southampton. So we should have 5 points from 9 against Leeds, Wolves, and Southampton. Well, that's not title contending form. I'd expect Liverpool to get maybe 7 points from that, probably 9. Same with Man City, same for Chelsea. So United have got to play a better brand of football, and if they do, then you'll get the best out of Bruno and Cavani and Ronaldo and Rashford and Sancho.
You know what? I think Cristiano Ronaldo coming in is going to have such a huge impact on Mason Greenwood, because I already think Mason Greenwood is a phenomenally good footballer. And I think working week in and week out with Cristiano Ronaldo, and just the timing of the runs, the reading of body language, and all that he can learn on the training ground. You know, often we look at these things as fans and we only think about the impact that. I'm using Ronaldo as in this example, but I could use James Milner from when he came to Liverpool as a very good example of professionalism, how to treat your body, how to train hard, how to respect the club, how to carry yourself, when to make the run. So many different things that these senior pros can teach, that I think the likes of a Mason Greenwood, or in our case, you know, even Jordan Henderson was learning from James Milner at Liverpool, and Curtis Jones. There's a lot to be said. It's not just about what he does in front of goal. It's the impact that he carries throughout the club and the professionalism that he brings. You don't get to 36 and get a move back to a club the size of United unless you're doing something right.